Howdy, folks. James at Rexem, rexem.com.au. Rexem is what we do, and welcome to episode 2 of the Rexem Australia podcast. And I have with me tonight Gary the Crazy Wizard, my good friend and my counterpart in this little scientific operation. Hello, Gary.
Howdy.
How you doing?
Yeah, good. We'll go through our findings, I suppose.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I found this quite interesting, actually, and I think I've come after the first video to some conclusions about sort of what I think I'm just going to do from here on out. And I think you've got some ideas too on the products that you've been using, right?
Yeah, I think I might have been on a good thing from the start and spent some money I didn't need to try some things that might have been a little bit more hot than what they were worth.
Okay, well, do you want to just deep dive into that? So just briefly sort of remind people what your sort of process was here and the barrels that you were testing.
Well, the dirtiest barrel I borrowed, the 3006, just for the sake of the video. I got chatting to a bloke and I got one you can use. It hasn't been cleaned in donkey's years. And I was like, brilliant. So I went through and I used a product on that was supposed to be the bee's knees, or it could be. Just it didn't work for me as well as I expected, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Went through that. It did the processes, kept doing the processes. And just didn't. Well, my hair's blown off, I suppose. I can't say I didn't blow my hair back, but yeah, just wasn't what I was expecting.
Yeah, okay. And I mean, that barrel was filthy. Like, we all saw the videos of it, and there's a lot. I mean, I don't know if that's a fair test for like a competition style barrel, but if the product isn't going to remove stuff like as well as other products that you certainly tested, I mean, you'd probably want the one that did the best job on the dirtiest barrel, right? Like,
yeah. We'll get into it. I've got all my little bottles sitting here beside me, so I can show you what I think's the bee's knees.
Yeah. Okay. Well, talk us through it. Talk us through what you went through and where you're at.
Well, back in the day, I had no idea about cleaning guns. Didn't know you had to clean guns virtually. Well, I knew you had to clean them, but went into the gun shop to a bloke that I trust down there in town, and I said, what do I buy? What do I use? I've watched 100 internet things. Everyone says their thing is the thing. Buy this now. Mm-hmm. It's the latest and greatest.
Yep.
And I've just always used, I'll show you the bottle. I'm not ashamed to show the bottle.
No, show it. Let's go.
This stuff, it's all backwards. You probably can't read it, but G96 bore solvent.
Roger.
Just follow the instructions on the bottle, into it with a bloody brass brush,
mm-hmm.
and it just works. It fast and easy. It just works. I've used it to pull lead out of the 460 when I got a bit excited with that and maybe shot it a little bit too quick with cast bullets. It pulled lead out.
Mm-hmm.
It's pulled copper out. It pulls carbon out. It just works.
So just a general all-purpose gets the job done. Can you leave it in there for long, or do you have to get rid of it?
I've left it in there overnight before.
Yep.
There's no need to. You won't be there that long with that stuff. You really won't.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And
it does the job quick.
Okay. And what other products did you try during this test?
What did we try? We tried the hoppies on the 223. You showed that.
Yep.
In
certainly
the first
did.
video you did there.
Mm-hmm.
What was the process with that one? We got back from the range. It had shot 24 rounds. It had shot, since it was pretty clean, I guess you could say. Not super duper clean, but pretty clean. We put a G96 spray patch through it, just to get any loose stuff out. Like, you don't want that to get in the way. Push the loose stuff out, and we ran through with hoppies. I did what the bottle says, and we took videos of it. You can see it. It wasn't magical, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
There was very little.
was just going to say, every single forum, you've always got like 50 people saying, I've only ever used hoppies for 40 years. But I wonder how many of those people actually had a look.
Well, that's the big thing. The camera changes everything.
It does.
It's the best and worst thing you can buy is a bore scope.
Yeah, don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it, but do it. Like, yeah, it adds an extra level to it. That's for sure.
Yeah, it certainly does. I kind of regret it now.
I was surprised when I got mine, to be honest. Like, I've just always done what I've done. Geez, I hope that's clean. You know, you go, clean patches, right? It's good to go.
Yep.
And when I got the camera, I was pleasantly surprised the state of the barrels. I was happy.
Yep. Okay, so what did
I will say that was the. What's that, man?
Oh, no, I was just going to say, what did you do after the hoppies?
After hoppies, well, I put some hoppies through it. I'd never used hoppies too much before. Yep. I think I bought that bottle a month before we started to mess around with this. And I wasn't particularly impressed with it. We'd spoken about that on the phone.
Yep.
Like, it just wasn't. It works, just not amazing.
Yeah. Yep.
It does the job. It does the job. It smells nice. I can give it that.
It does, doesn't
it? So I went to Old Faithful G96 after that. Now, that first video wasn't, I guess you could say, many processes of the one product. It was push a patch through, push a few patches through, give it a light little scrub, and just see what it did.
It did
to show
well.
The results.
But it did
and
well.
Then, so, yeah, the G96 went down. I just put it on a patch with a little eyedropper. I suck it up in the eyedropper, wet the patch, push it through.
Yep. And
do what it says on the thing. And the results were on the video there. That sort of worked pretty well as far as I was concerned.
Yeah. I think from the one cleaning, like of all the cleanings, that one cleaning was definitely the most significant from my opinion.
It's a bit woofy, that stuff. Like, it doesn't seem to hurt anything. Like, I've dropped it on, or not dropped it on, but you get a little bit of mess around the place. I knocked a quarter of a bottle onto the floor one day, hardwood floor.
Yeah.
And a mat that was under there. It stunk the house out for about a good 2 months, but didn't damage the mat, didn't damage the wood floor.
Perfect.
So that's a positive for that. So it's good for you. Not good for your stock, but stock. But
let's just put it on our decks. Let's just paint our decks with it.
That's it.
Awesome.
Then what did we do after G96? We went to this one.
Yeah, that is
C4.
The C4 copper, is it? Or is
No, C4 is carbon remover.
Gotcha. All right.
Carbon remover.
Yep. Cool.
I gave that a run. That stuff smells really nice. It smells like oranges, I think.
Interesting.
Yeah, it doesn't seem. It says on the bottle there it shouldn't hurt too much stuff around your rifle.
Yeah, I wonder if it's
spillage.
Yeah, I wonder if it's like a citric acid based sort of thing, maybe.
No idea. I haven't tasted it to tell you.
Coward.
But yeah, I followed the directions exactly on the packet there, on the bottle, and the results were in the video there. We did that. Then we went over to the CU2 copper remover.
Yep.
Now, that stuff, when you judge it by the patches, a lot of blue comes out. Like, it does its thing, like blue's copper coming out.
Yep.
But, how do you say it?
Honestly, I guess.
Honestly, the results that I got for hang on, let me have a look at the prices here so I can give an exact. Scratch the price off. Just while that.
It was like $40 or something, right?
Yeah, $45 for a tiny little bottle. And I don't know. In my case, I wouldn't do it again.
Yeah. No, fair, man. Like, this was actually took us a lot of time, right? And effort and money.
A lot of
videos back and forth and proper, like, as controlled as I guess we could. We didn't control temperature and humidity and stuff, but we did control, like, time in the barrel, scratching it out, using the same brushes each time.
Yeah, like I got all the little brushes here. Used the what is it? The breakthrough brushes, like nylon brushes. Which the good thing about G96, you haven't got to use nylon brush. You haven't got to use a nylon brush with the other one either. But following the directions for directions,
Actually, I was going to say, now that you've got your brushes there, I should go and grab mine and show you the results from some of my brushes, because that could be really interesting. Just stay right there. I should have been more prepared, but hang on. All right. Did you notice your brush is getting dissolved or going blue at all?
No, I didn't bring the copper brush. Damn it. I'm not walking up the other end to get it. I'm not as committed as you to that exercise. But my brushes, I know what you're about to say, and all my brushes came out the same colour, but, a bit dirty, carbony, but certainly not blue.
Well, I want to show you. Can you almost, there we go. Can you see
it's still, almost.
Yeah, so that's one that I did yesterday, and I rinsed it with water, and it's still kind of, even after a hose, still got some blue oxide on there. So that one, I'll tell you about that one in a minute. But yeah, so look, in the end, what are your thoughts? Like, obviously we didn't have as impressive as results as you would have liked with your C4 and your C2, given their price point. I mean, I saw the videos and I thought, oh my goodness. I would have expected more, considering the G96 did such a good job. So yeah, what's your sort of
maybe I expected too much. Like blokes out at the range, one bloke that I look up to, respect him, he went and bought it and he said it was great. But he'd never tried G96 either. We'd spoken about that. I told him what I use, and he'd never heard of it, really. He'd heard of the spray can, but that's just oil, like cleaning oil. It's not a hardcore solvent. But that solvent that I got told about right at the very start of the whole shooting adventure, don't everyone race out and buy it at once. I want to buy more.
You better get some bottles now.
Yeah, basically, I'm going back to just using that. All this other stuff can just sit in the bottom of the cupboard for World War III or something.
Do you think, from what I've sort of got from your testing, is that you would run, like, you'd finish shooting, just put some G96 oil in there to try to keep the carbon as loose as you can when you walk away from the range. And then when you get home, you'd scrub it with G96 and for like half an hour or whatever, and then store it. Would you clean after you patch out all the crap with G96, would you use G96 oil again to protect the barrel, or would you?
I used to. I'll admit that. I used to use it. Now, after playing with ISO, I leave everything just with a light coat of this stuff, the ISO. It's probably all backwards in the camera.
That's okay.
But the ISO Eliminator Triple Action Oil Solution cleans, lubricates, inhibits corrosion, loosens carbon and plastic wad. Now, I can't speak for the plastic wad, but not to admit to bad cleaning practices on rifles that I don't keep as clean as for competition guns. It does actually loosen carbon, funnily enough.
Never enough time, I can see that.
Yeah. Well, it was just interesting. I pushed a patch through. I always leave a little bit of oil in them. Always push a patch in before you go out. And I think it was when you and I went to Ripley. We took that old 222.
Yeah.
And I pushed it out. I wet a patch and pushed it out and then went through dry. But that first patch that came out, 2 big lines of carbon from in a groove, bloody pushed out the end of the barrel with the patch. And I was like, wow, new respect for that stuff. Yeah, especially if it's
keeping it like not rusty while you're storing it as well.
So it come out on the patch as 2 strips. Like you could see that they just got loosened and pushed out the end.
Beautiful.
So I'll
Okay.
attest to that stuff. But
Yep.
yeah, I do just leave everything with this stuff inside it. No,
Mm-hmm.
not dripping wet. I don't want to mess in the
No,
safe.
no, but yeah,
But
and you
if you
shoot them
know,
enough. You shoot them enough to be constantly re-lubricating them and oiling them anyway, right? Like,
yeah,
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 you don't leave
yeah.
them 6 to 9 months like I did with my 6.5
No,
WSM.
no, I'm pretty funny about
Oh
the
dear.
cleaning. Get home from the range, even if it's a late night,
Yep.
just at least oil them and
Yep.
like in down the barrel, like put something in it to keep it soft. If
Mhm.
I don't do it that night, I'll do it the next night when I get home.
Mhm.
They'll get G96, just G96, few patches to get it wet. I generally let it sit about 20 minutes, get the scrubby brush out, and with I didn't bring it, the big bore guide, but I use these bore guides. They possum hollow.
Mhm.
They seal to the chamber, like they little
A
O-ring.
little
They
O-ring on
seal
it.
into the
Yeah.
chamber, so you get no leakage.
Mhm.
Um, Stick one of those in and patch away, like
Okay.
scrub and brush away, and everything comes clean fairly bloody quick.
Okay. And what's your thoughts with IOSO? Because I mean, everyone seems to be scared of running, including myself, even of running an abrasive. Would you only reserve that? Let's say if you're doing your normal cleaning routine regularly, and you go out to shoot a match or something, and you start to get funny velocities, lose accuracy, then would you IOSO it, or would you do it on a time thing, like, or a number of rounds? Like you've shot 400 rounds, it's time for an IOSO, or is it just going to be what you see on your bore scope is going to determine that?
The camera, go by the
Yeah.
camera.
Okay.
Like, like, like everyone's favourite, Mr. Cortina. It's not clean until it's clean.
Yep.
I don't use ISO every time. I don't have a need to. I've got no hard carbon in the BR barrel or the Howard, the 223 Merrin uses.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep up the G96 and a good scrubbing. After a while, you will get a little build up,
Yep.
and then you give it a hit.
Yeah.
But
And get
yeah,
it
I don't use
early,
it
I'm
every
guessing.
time.
Get it real
What's that,
early.
sorry?
Just get it real early, so
Yeah.
you're not scrubbing through really thick, hard stuff.
Yeah, if you don't let it build up, you don't really need it a great deal.
Okay.
Just when it does, you'll know if you get a camera. They're not exactly expensive these days. The Teslon ones,
I just got
bloody
mine delivered for $69.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they're cheap and they work. And or with your phone, plug it into your phone. You can do it at the range.
True. Yeah, that's the thing. Yep.
Yeah, it's if you keep on top of it, you don't need a lot of these hardcore cleaners. I don't believe.
Mm. All right.
But if you let it get away from you, well, then you're going to have to bring out the big guns as your show or get creative.
Yeah, well, I got certainly creative in my little experiments there, like going through the forums to find an infinite array of things that people wanted to try, and I think they just chickened out, and I can see why, because a barrel's expensive, right? It just is. It's more expensive now than ever before, and the delay on it, I think it's 16 weeks minimum for a gunsmith to make you a new barrel, and I've got 4 on order at the moment. With my look, I'm just going to shamelessly plug Swanee barrels, because I just, man, great barrel. I cannot fault them. They certainly do. So in some of these test barrels were actually Swan barrels, which I have essentially murdered through the 6.5 through forgetfulness when I didn't oil it, and the 22.243 Ackley from just brutally fire forming brass. And, I was an advocate of Ed's Red. I thought it was really good. And Hoppies was like my go-to for copper remover and stuff like that. And then I got my bore scope. And things changed, but I didn't want to go to abrasives straight away. And I've been trying lacquer thinner, paint stripper, even easy off BAM, as you know, and seeing how it affects bluing and does it rust barrels.
Yeah, I was a bit nervous for some of them for you.
Yeah.
When you told me on the phone, I was like, damn, I'm glad it's yours, not mine.
For science, it has to be done. Sorry, smashing my mic stand. I was getting excited. But look, I've kind of changed my thinking since the first video a little bit. So where I'm at now, and these videos will be visible later, but I got my MEK, and I know I've talked to you about this, but it is probably one of the most powerful solvents that you can commercially get, and it's $30 a liter. And paint stripper is $27 a liter, but the MEK absolutely tears apart a carbon. I just put it on a bronze brush and scrubbed the bejesus out of it, and it removed buckets of carbon to the point where I got to that really, really hard stuff that will need an abrasive. Everything else in the barrel is gone except for the copper. And so I thought, well, I'm going to attack the copper with the paint stripper because, as you can see here, it attacks the brushes. And I went in for a 30-minute treatment, and you'll see it on the video here shortly. And these are big copper swathes, down the barrel, like big, deep ones. And it removed 95% of it in one go. Like this thick blue mess came out. And I'm like, okay, so I did another experiment where I made my own Ed's Red, which I'm going to call Jimbo's Red, which is just MEK, 2 parts to 1 part ATF. And I've got a barrel in there sitting with it that's been sitting in there for a few days. I'm going to check it in a week to see if the MEK evaporates and leaves the ATF. But I'm checking that gun daily at the moment, and it has left a thin residue of oil on it. So it looks like it's doing its job as it's breaking apart carbon a little bit. I'm just do you see this running out of time thing?
Yeah, it says 9 minutes 45 in meeting remaining.
Oh, okay. Well, we can start another meeting. That's easy enough. Right. So I'm using Jimbo's Red for storage and post-cleaning lubrication and stuff in the barrel. And I'm cleaning. So let's say I get home from the range. I've sprayed some oil in it at the range and I get home. I'm then going to patch it out with some MEK, get it nice and wet on a brush and scrub, patch it out. And I'll do that a couple of times. And then I'll have a quick look. And if there's any copper in there, I'm going to paint strip it. But I probably won't paint strip it unless there's significant copper or something that's really noticeable. But I can tell you now, the paint stripper of the things that I've tried dissolves copper like I've never seen. Especially hoppies. Like, it gets rid of it eventually, but the paint stripper, sorry, I just put that on silent, does a fantastic job. So I'm going to keep running MEK because it's $60 for 2 liters of stuff. And I've got a little eye pipette dropper, like a cosmetic thing. And I just put 2 or 3 drops on a patch, run it through. The only thing I will say is MEK is obviously not good for you. It's an organic solvent. You need to wear safety glasses. If it gets in your eye, it potentially can dissolve your eyeball, as far as I've read. And I mean, it sounds fun, right? Like having a dissolved eyeball is a brilliant thing, but I wouldn't want to get hoppies in my eye. I wouldn't want to get any of these other things. So I'll just safety glass it up, and I'll run some MEK through it, run some paint stripper through it, because like my general cleaner is just going to be paint stripper. It's the Bunnings yellow brand. I think it's called Polystrip. That'll get rid of most of the carbon and copper in one go. I might just MEK.
You do take everything out of your chassis, but don't you?
I do.
Don't want to drip that stuff on your nice fancy stock.
Well, actually, no. The MDT Oryx chassis, they stay in. Doesn't affect the Cerakote on them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I haven't had any problems with that. On timber stocks, I'd be careful. But you can also be careful when you're doing it. You don't have to, I even put some of the paint stripper in a syringe and squirted it up the barrel and filled the barrel a little bit in one experiment and left it in there for ages. And man, the crap that it pulls out, especially in that 22.243, man, that thing's had a bit of work now. But I think that's going to be my go-to is just paint stripper. Run it.
Keep it effective.
Yeah, and any hard stuff that needs to come out, MEK, but I'll still probably keep it lubed with MEK and Jimbo's Red, an ATF. I think that's pretty good at this stage. Obviously, I'll update you and you'll be the first to know if I start to see rust. But yeah, man, paint stripper, Bunnings, $27 a litre. Fantastic. Just be careful on your timber stocks.
Yeah, well, it's certainly cheaper than a lot of the things you can buy in the store
Yeah.
that don't work as
Yeah.
good as they should.
Yeah, and look, I'm not going to sit here and preach that it's any better, but it works. That was the whole point was,
Yeah.
does this work? Yeah. Just don't go and buy it all, folks, because I do want to buy some and keep some here. But I
I
can...
was just thinking about that. I'm not looking for a lawsuit, but I don't think some of these more expensive ones are any better than some of the cheaper ones. Some of the cheaper ones aren't any good either. But yeah, just when you find what works for you, what bullets you're shooting and what powder you're shooting, I guess to clean out, like they all have different characteristics. Maybe I've only ever really stuck with a couple of powders and one brand of projectiles, really. Funny that.
And that's actually worth mentioning too. Different coppers with different zinc contents and stuff will react differently to different bore solvents. It just will.
Yeah.
Slower or faster.
With the test that we did, this is our honest. Well, from my end and your end, like it's our honest results. It is what it is.
So your G96 ISO if needed. I'm going to be paint stripper for a general clean and mech for a hardcore clean and a little bit of Jimbo's red for storage. And I mean, I'll obviously update it, but I mean, it was a good test, man. Like I really thought I'd get more out of stuff like lacquer thinner. I thought Ed's red would be better than what it was. It's just not. It's a bit disappointed. I really had high hopes for that. But yeah, and hoppies, I had the same results as you. It was a mediocre sort of clean, but then again.
Yeah, well, if you think back, remember I bought that hoppies. We're on the phone there. I said, I finally bought that hoppies. I'm going to give it a try. Everyone uses it. And I sort of said, I'm going back to what I was using.
Yeah, I do. I think it's worth mentioning I didn't notice any difference between stainless or chromoly barrels in terms of there was no damage done. But I definitely think I'm just, for personal reasons, going to stay away from BAM. There's something about the sodium hydroxide I just scares me. I know it shouldn't, but it scares me, so I'm just not going to use it.
I think the fact that it was oven cleaner was part that scared me.
Yeah, I know. It was, and that stuff. Yeah. But yeah, I think having the mech now and being so cheap, just eyedrop it on. That's going to be. Yeah,
well, I'll get a bottle of. I'll get you to mix up a brew of your mech and stuff, and I'll give it a whirl.
Yeah.
Like, cheap's cheap. Everything's expensive.
Yeah, that's right, and it's only getting more expensive. Well, while I got you, what are we planning another experiment in something like this in the near future? I'm just trying to think, what else can we muck around with?
What can we experiment on? Yeah, I don't know. What's something that's very controversial? Primer seeding depth.
All right, so for those who don't know, Gary and I have an ongoing argument about primer seeding depth. I'm like, I don't think it's worth worrying about. I think just crush and go. Gary's an advocate. So
yeah, well, it hasn't let me down too far yet. Like, we're only sort of getting this VR sort of cracking now.
Yeah.
And I've made a few little changes, and it certainly made some changes. Now make it better again.
Yeah, well, look, we can explore that. I think we still need to do a if I had my time again reloading video. I think will be
that'll be good.
Because I think there's, again, on the Facebook forum stuff, there's people like, what should I do to start? And oh my goodness. And then you can compile the tens of thousands of YouTube hours we've spent watching stuff. Far out.
But then if you did it differently, you wouldn't have the experiences that you have. You wouldn't have learned what you learned, I guess.
That's a really good point too. But
break a few eggs to bake a cake.
But we might be able to at least give people some affordable and good options and places to start, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
And
affordable these days.
I think it's important, yeah, that people don't feel like it's out of reach to be seriously competitive on a budget, because you
No,
can be.
no,
You
not at all.
can be. We,
You can be up there.
yeah, I was going to say we routinely see people shoot great matches with just factory rifles. Some people just seem to, be good with very bare bones stuff. I think, what was the other thing? I just wanted to mention while I got you too, because you're going to be shooting a fair few of our 6.5. It's going to take, I found out today, about 6 weeks to get our modifications done. So when that time comes, obviously you'll be out there representing. I mean, you've done a lot of
We'll get 'em
representation
routed.
for us. So anyway, I do appreciate that, because I know that components aren't free and freedom isn't free.
No, oh, we better not be too controversial. We'll start another conversation.
Belongs to you and me. But yeah, all right. Well, we're gonna have to have a chat again in our next video. I think people are gonna really enjoy listening to the things that we've found and what we're doing, and I think we'll just update them as we go. But yeah, man, I really appreciate your time. Hey, I really do.
That's all good, man. It's
Have
all
you?
fun, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's all
yeah.
fun.
Well, that's what it's all about. All right. So, one of the other, I think, really interesting things that we could discuss is just bullet seating depth and the critical role that it plays and how to set up your load development. So, I mean, we talk about this all the time about doing a ladder test and then shooting groups with different seating depths. And I think that, when you see online on forums and on Facebook all the time, what combined overall length should I load this bullet to for best performance? And I think that people still don't really understand that it's completely rifle dependent. And I think we should cover
Completely
that.
rifle dependent. Completely.
Yeah.
I started with 2 identical Howers that needed 2 different loads to shoot the same bullet.
Yeah, they had very different.
But they were very, yeah, not very, like, not opposite ends of the scale, but to make them sing, they were different.
Yeah, I think you said in one ammo there was like a 2-inch group that got down to like sub MOA quite easily. Is that
Yeah,
right?
that was just seating depth,
Yeah.
just mucking around. Yeah.
Hang on. Sorry. Yeah, so we could certainly do a chat on that. I guess it depends on what people want to hear.
Well, there's one that I would really like to try and document in our own, how do you say it, our own words, document the actual results, is when we get the 6.5 up and running, actually get a barrel tuner. Do it firsthand. Off that, 'cause
Wow, that's
rifle that we're gonna use-
controversial.
Well,
Hornady
it's one of
versus
those
Cortina.
Yeah, what do you can only go by the results that we see.
Yeah.
And that what we see at the moment, I don't know anybody from memory out at the range that's actually running a tuner.
Yeah, same.
And I'm thinking, like, I don't want to mess with my big barrel. Like the BR, she's my baby. I don't want to send that in to get threaded. But the Creedmoor that we're going to use as a bit of a testing platform and get it happening,
All right.
perfect
Can
candidate. It's already threaded.
Can I add to that an idea?
Yeah.
GRT.
Yeah, GRT, that's another big one we have to go into.
Because I've put in like specific ADI loads into that and it is remarkably close. I'm talking like 3 feet per second. So
well, GRT is another big rabbit hole, isn't it?
it is.
Like,
I think we should dive into it.
Give it the right information and it's pretty good.
All right.
Give it the right info and it can predict a fair bit for you before you even get to the range.
Well, let's put it to the Facebook Rexem users and see what they think, I guess, and let the people dictate what they want to see. But I think if you were going to get a barrel tuner, and that's something you really wanted for the 6.5, we could definitely test that, because I know I can
it's easy. We've got all the stuff apart from a barrel tuner.
Yeah.
We've we've got a range with electronic targets.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a 100-meter range. We can shoot paper.
Mm-hmm.
We can test it from the very start.
Yeah.
Just the threaded muzzle cap. Geez, I'd test it without the threaded muzzle cap just for just for a test.
Why not?
Like, why not?
Might make it better.
Yeah, get into it.
All right.
Just give her a
Cool.
whirl.
Sweet. All right. Well, should we end episode 2 there before we rabbit hole into more ideas, and then we'll put this up. We'll put the question to the Facebook people, and then we can, because obviously there is a financial component to a lot of this stuff and time to get delivered. I know that a lot at the moment with where we're at. But
I got a secret to getting stuff like that, like barrel tuner, if I want it.
Oh,
I
yeah?
just tell my wife to make a gun shoot better.
Oh, yeah. Well, direct competition.
She'll be in. She'll
Yep.
be in. Mate, honest, it'll make it better.
Yeah, that's right. As long as she beats you, right? Like everything's good.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Unreal. Well, my oh dear. Anyway. All right. Well, I think
What have we got? Seating depth.
Yep.
Seating depth.
GRT.
Barrel tuner.
Barrel
and
tuner.
GRT.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and
GRT,
reloading.
That's nearly a series on its own.
Yeah, look, I think it is, but we can tackle it, I think, and we're not experts at it, but we do know how to set up a potentially good load. But I would still do the ladder test and still do the seating depth test and all of that stuff properly. But yeah, I might even do a quick review in a video of the actually, I do want to do a review of the Hornady neck turner versus the Forster in the if I had my time again, and my press, because I happen to be very, very happy with the Frankfurt Arsenal M press, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, all right, man. Well, look, let's end episode 2 there, and we will see you at the next one, I suppose.
Yeah, next weekend, 400 yards.
All right.
Potato chip.
Well, I'm hoping I get my barrels back by then, but it's.
Oh yeah, you're still waiting on barrels.
Look, there is a very old 270 in there that I might be able to put a scope on and have a crack with a 270.
Have a crack. Sport a hunter.
Sport a hunter, yeah, right. 400, yeah, I might be all right. Oh, actually, I might shoot the 80s in the 223.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, why not? Give it a crack.
That'll
Give
work.
it a whirl.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you shortly.
Right, see you. Bye.
Bye.